You didn't say you were boy. No, but you said no. We like boys. When you were us, I said yeah, but you're a boy. Huh? Last time I think it was on. Diamond goes down. Yeah, but you know it's one one.
Okay.
He said that. Yeah, he said that this one. Nah, I didn't know. Sorry, boss. Okay. I feel like it. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, now. Imagine these is what.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think we didn't get anything in the term here. We are in term. And the week before you went here. Did you get the term out? That is up until what you're doing today. Rayan, welcome. Oh, yours and me. Wow.
Remember you and this.
All of us. How do you have the stuff of this week though? Just check it.
What's it saying now? What's it saying? You tell me this is what routine.
Oh, it's what look what the trash routine not
But the wind routine.
something like it. Just like just like
But you get one or give it. But all before you do.
Okay, thank you everyone. If you haven't already seen on your chat, is that I sent a message saying that the next couple of weeks of work is uploaded on the e-classroom. That is obviously for those of them that registered for co-mobility at home, so they need to keep up to date at home. Hence, they have live, so they can follow in class and also complete what they need to and submit it by Friday, as per usual. I mean, in class will be doing the activities on Friday, or I'll give it to you Wednesday, Thursday, and then you'll check it on Friday. So it's the same concept, just home. Yeah, so this section of work will actually take us into, this is third term's work, but this section of work will sort of finish off when we get back. When we get back to school, which is the official third term, which I think will be the 12th, as far as I know, okay, of August, after that Women's Day long weekend, which will then be like the third term. But we would have been already halfway through the third term's work, which makes it easier for us. Because I mean, soon after that, we're going to write that September test. So I'm not going to leave much to when we get back for the third term, because in September you must write a test with regards to the third term's work. So yeah. So this week we're going to cover Lesotho, Mauritius, and Madagascar. Okay. Okay, we'll start with Lesotho. Okay, firstly, it is obviously situated within South Africa. Okay, but it's not part of South Africa. Okay, another thing is that they are part of the SADC regions. So they do, because part of Africa is part of the SADC region. So the region that we're talking about would be the African regions. Okay, so Lesotho is landlocked. The capital there, guys, follow in your notes. Sorry. Yeah, please. Guys, if you cannot see on your notes, please highlight it and make it big or write it on the side. Because obviously I need to say paper. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So make sure you highlight and make it big. So here is the capital. Now.
Yeah. This is now. This week when the age campaign, that's your eyes. You're crying.
Okay, yeah, it's black and white, which makes it difficult. Not taking copy it in color. Okay, the language that is spoken in Lesotho, if we go in a anti-clockwise direction, it's landlocked because it's obviously in the center of South Africa. Okay, the language spoken is English and Sesotho, which is also language spoken here in yes. Yes, Isa?
Okay, how is it in the middle of South Africa?
It's not in the middle, I'm saying it's landlocked, so it's surrounded by other provinces. That's what I mean. Okay? When it's talk about when we look at the block there in the left, okay, it said it gained independence from the UK in 1966. What happened is that Lesotho was sort of governed and owned, and that is the reason why it's not part of South Africa. Because it was governed and run and sort of reprimanded by the United Kingdom. Hence, they're not part of South Africa ever since then. Okay, even though they gained independence, and because they gained that independence, they felt, look here, we're still going to be separate from South Africa. Because, I mean, yes, we were governed by the UK, but now we gained our independence. They sort of didn't want to fall part of South Africa. Almost like they must give themselves up to another country now, when they were governed for years by the UK. So when they gained the independence, they stayed the individual sort of selves, and that's why it's not part of South Africa. To answer your question that someone asked me.
Then so they want nothing to do with us.
Well, nothing to do with us, because I mean we have the sunny pass cutting through and coming through to them, so they don't mind us coming in and out. But with regards to ever since they gained independence, they don't want to be full part or fall under somebody else again. Okay. So the currency is the Maloti. Okay. What lies in so Lesotho actually lies in the Ukuslamba Drakensberg Mountains. Hence, guys, there's that signature Sani pass that cuts through the Ukuslamba Drakensberg park, okay, the mountainous areas, and it cuts through the Drakensberg, and it's the only route from KZN through to the Drakensberg Mountains, and it's called the Sani Pass, okay, because Lesotho partially lies in and on the Ukuslamba Drakensberg Mountains. Okay, the tourist information or things, what makes sort of Lesotho signature for tourists is the Lesotho Highlands. Again, it sort of juts up, like that if you look at South Africa from side view, it's sort of on a higher lying area, okay? Also, because it also lies in the Drakensberg mountains, it also has lots of mountainous areas, so that is now signature for hikes, walks, 4x4 trails, okay, for tourists. There's lots of villages in the area. This is a very culturally infused area at the Lesotho villages. And what so like I said, it is a higher lying area in comparison to into South Africa. So that whole section there, Lesotho area, is on a slight higher plateau than the rest of South Africa. Is lower lying. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the Maloti Mountains, and obviously because it lies in the Drakensberg Park, okay, the Maloti Mountains is found on the top, in the middle there, in the center, close to Pitsing. If you can see it there, it's highlighted in brown on the map, but not obviously on your maps there, it's not, it's black and white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think they learn in Lesotho learn about our country?
Sorry?
Do you think they learn about our country?
Yes.
How sure?
It's not that they like, it's not that they aggressive. How do you think America knows about us and they like now off fast out, like they're not even part of us. But they know about Nelson Mandela, they know about our histories.
Only him.
But a portion. They'll learn a lot about their own history and then portion about other history. While we thought about the Dutch and the UK and this war and that war of them. So they also learn majority of their own culture, but parts of the world that's signature to them. Okay, so just highlight that on your map so you know that is one of the singled out areas, the Maloti Mountains. Okay, together with obviously the Drakensberg, which is on the right there, along the borders of Lesotho. Okay, so it's two highlighted areas. I don't know how to, yeah, can you see my cursor? So there and there. Okay, so highlight those two areas. So the Maloti Mountains and the Drakensberg Park. Okay, it acts as a border between South Africa and Lesotho because it's like a mountainous area is blocking. However, there is the Sani Pass that cuts. It's the only way through it. Okay, that's why the Sani Pass is such a thing or tourist attraction. The attractions here in this area is the obvious because it's narrow pathways, mountainous areas. So they actually do pony trekking, the mountain climbing, paragliding, skiing, also hiking is the obvious, okay? So it suits very much for the adventure tourists. And remember it's on a high-lying area. And now everybody now over the weekend, or the weekend before, went to all the higher-lying areas here in the Western Cape. Guys, so you can only imagine they are higher than that, okay? So indefinitely, snow does occur there, okay? Hence, the attraction of skiing when it's the colder season, okay? Then the Drakensberg Park, guys, as we learned before, is that it is a World Heritage Site and sort of Lesotho falls in this category. So if you mention as attraction under Lesotho or as well, it's okay, it's right. Because they also lie partially and partly on or in the Drakensberg Mountains. The attractions obviously there, which we've covered already. They fauna and flora, so plants and animals, especially birds. We discovered with regards to the caves that have the rock paintings. Okay. Yeah, so people would explore this as well. It's very sort of mountainous and adventurous here. So I would say the backpacker, adventure tourist, lots of researchers in this area. But obviously the leisure tourists can do a 4x4 drive. That doesn't take any sort of energy. And also culture, the rock art. Okay, so because this area is so mountainous, okay, they also have the Basutu pony trails. The Basutu pony trails within the Lesotho area, okay. And it's called that obviously because the way that they move around on these trails, okay, due to it being narrower pathways and dangerous to sort of 4x4 on, the mode of transport they use is ponies. Okay. So what they do, they'll do some pony tricks. And they actually employ the younger generation or the fit, because remember they need to sort of trek along with you. So it creates employment opportunities in the Lesotho area. Also pretty well. Okay, I grew up there. Another big or iconic area within Lesotho would be the Kapa Dam, and also the Lesotho Highlands. As I said, it is about 185 meters above sea level, and then also remember it is on a slightly higher lying area. Okay. The main storage sort of area within South Africa, okay, and also it creates hydro electricity. I don't know if they're still doing that though, but are they? Geography. Okay. Yeah, hydroelectricity. Sorry? Why? Please enlighten me.
So we bought a whole bunch of water from them, and then there was.
Oh yes, I remember.
So we basically own a lot of their water, and there was a bit of politics when what's his name was in power. No, before Zuma. When
No.
the guy with the
Mbeki.
No, the other guy.
Oh,
Mbeki went off, and he came in for like a season, and he tried to take. He went into the suit and like had a little try to make a coup happen, and it didn't happen. So now there's a lot of tension. But that was like 20 years ago.
So do you give us the water or not?
We're buying it from them.
Again.
Sure.
Okay, that's interesting. Yes, guys.
So the drain is there, and then you got the water project where you got dams along the way, and then the Sutu Highlands Water Project feeds the Vaal Dam in Gauteng.
Okay.
Awesome, actually.
So it's funny how you buy the fact that we just like we don't we yeah. So guys, the Lesotho Islands project is also something that you must sort of know what happens in and around that area. And also, the first thing that you think of is the Ukashlamba, Drakensberg. You think about Maloti Mountains, and then you think about the Kapa Dam and the water project. And when you think about obviously the mountainous areas, you think about the Basutu pony trails. Okay, so those are sort of standout and what you need to sort of emphasize on. And then the greatest of them all, which I feel it's easy to remember. When you think about the Maloti Mountains and the Ukashlamba Drakensberg Park and the Basutu Trails, you also think about the Sani Pass, which I just mentioned. Okay? Because it's the route between South Africa and Lesotho. Okay? So it's one that cuts through the Drakensberg Mountains or Ukashlamba Drakensberg mountain range. Okay, so obviously they, it's amazing views for the adventure tourist, for the backpacker, for the hiker, for the sport enthusiast. Okay, due to obviously the height and how it is or the level. Okay, it's a gateway to the roof of Africa. Okay, remember they are on a higher lying area. And it is the only border pass between, as I mentioned earlier, KZN and South Africa and Lesotho. Okay, so how we would get there or what we do is 4x4. Okay, and in this area in particular, due to its altitude, okay, you can experience all seasons in one day. So at one point, It's nice and hot, and you have sleeveless on, tank tops, and then suddenly it's autumnish cold, and then it's extremely cold, and then
Yeah,
One day, man.
Ma'am, I want
Yeah.
to ask you,
Yo.
ma'am, in what's it country or the race? Oh, yeah,
yeah.
do they have like sun daylight for day, like sunlight for full 24 hours?
If you're above the Arctic Circle, you'll have months of the sun not going down. The sun just goes around.
Sure.
And then in winter, the sun goes around down there, so you can't see it. So you'll have like
Darkness.
6 months dark and 6
Dark.
3-4 months. It's crazy. No, that's why people go crazy because they have lack of vitamin D and they have to take their vitamin D and they go sit in special lighting. And that's one of my reasons why I think the Vikings were such a big thing because when you're cold and it's dark all the time, you become angry and you have to go fight people. I don't know if that's true.
Because one of my friends came from there. Most of the cultural, the way of life is very, very different. What they eat, they love like their rice. They also love, yeah, like they love like they have black chicken, okay? They have yeah, they love beef, they love meat and things, but they eat quite heavy. However, it doesn't affect them like they're actually pretty healthy. Healthy people. Islanders, okay? So they're similar to, you feel like they come from Thailand, Hawaii, just the type of feel and energy that they have. Okay? So it is an island off the east coast of South Africa. Alice? And Nico. Okay. Madagascar obviously is in the Indian Ocean, so it is our very own Hawaii. However, as I mentioned to this class before, all matriculants, I'm not too sure, but is that they just really struggle with English. And guys, English is an international language. So once they actually get that under the clutches, I'm sure they'll become more open to tourism on a greater scale. But what is the barrier there is the lack of English. Okay? A lot of the time. So they speak Malagasy or they speak French. Okay? So yeah, sort of conveys French in a way. So it's not pure French, okay? But it's just the influence of speaking Malagasy and living in Madagascar. That's why most Malagasys actually move to France because they don't want to live in the small sort of on this island. Also, guys, there's only two types of income statuses. Yeah, income statuses in Madagascar. It's either you are high income, so you rich, or you poor. Like poor, I mean like on the road walking barefoot. Okay, there's only two. There's no in between. There's no average middle class. Okay, so lots of them obviously in the upper class, the parents own businesses and things like that. And because sometimes they don't want to carry on in the family business, most of the young youth they move when they go to France because English is difficult and then French is something that they have. Okay? Okay, so what my friend did tell me though is that the one side is really terrible, like with regards to sand. But however, from where she lives, it's quite a drive out to go to a sort of more easy, beautiful beach. It's nice and some beaches there. Okay, but beaches all around. Wildlife, guys, they have. I'm gonna get this wrong. It's a lemur, no? No, not the lemur.
Lima
Yes,
berry.
it is.
The monkey thing.
In Madagascar, like literally, she broke my nephew's t-shirt.
Lemurs, yes. The thing
The,
with the long tail.
what? Yeah, with the eyes.
White and black thing.
King Julian.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like a signature thing.
And those tiny little buggers with the big bush babies.
Oh no, no, I'm like,
Yeah, lemurs
lemurs
are
is
bush
the
babies.
thing there. Like
You
I
find them
said,
all West Indies.
like I said, they sort of they find it difficult to tourism because of the English barrier. However, they're getting there. As I said, the World Travel Market Africa that I attended last year, they were present. So you can see they're sort of making their debut. They're coming out, even though I purposely went to go talk to them, and still, like the people behind the counter, they speak broken English, like. So, but they're getting there, and it's very beautiful there. It's like our own way, okay. What was I saying? Yeah, wildlife. A big thing there. You can see that they try. For instance, when Marvin went back home to visit, and then she came back, she was kind enough to bring my nephew's gifts, and it was always like a T-shirt with a lima on it, a lima teddy bear. So they know what is sort of unique. It's just they lack that value, but they're gonna break the market. Culture and heritage. Okay, I can talk about the culture of my friend. One of the relatives passed away. You see, my friend studied here in Cape Town. She studied business at Varsity College or something. And from here, she went back home. So she was here like for 5 years. She went back home. She didn't stay there long. She didn't want to take over her father's business. So she moved to France. But while she was here, she was studying. She had like the best flat in town. But anyways, we were like at the place one time, like all flipped over, and her mom phoned and she's like, no, guys, I have to take this phone call. So I was like, okay, why? She's like, no, one of her relatives died. And what they do, they actually keep the body in the home for like a couple of days. And like it's just a thing that they do. And I found it so weird, imagine. But it's like it's just that's part of the culture. Okay? So guys, they are very different, and I told you like a black chicken. I don't know, but my sister went to a visitor as a 21st gift. And when she went, she was like, yeah, it's black chicken. I was like, okay. So they're pretty different. I mean, it's a different sort of culture and heritage over there, and you learn lots, okay? Malagasy, as I said, also French. Over 200,000 unique species. So besides, obviously, the lima that I mentioned. The currency is the Malagasy franc. And I'm not even going to attempt to say that because it just gives me flashbacks. Yeah, so I was telling them that I went to an interview once, and it was an airline interview. For some reason, it was a group interview, so each of us that got African country, and then we needed to sort of grab facts about it and also mention its capital. And I was Madagascar, and I just couldn't. I started so bad. And then the lady felt so sorry for me, she just said it. Well, that is the capital, guys.
Antananarivo.
Nah, go on. Go on. Antananarivo. You can't try and say that, and you're nervous.
Antananarivo, yeah.
No, it's crazy. It's like a hummingbird bites.
I think your mind got stuck.
Formation.
Yeah, but
It is limestone. Yes, man.
that is. What do you mean? Type the rock. I thought like at a certain way.
Stalactites and stalagmites are formed in caves from dripping. That's
Yeah, but it's also
way. So that was all thick, and now it's just been cut by rain.
okay. They have a special wind there.
That wind.
That like cuts through and creates that shape. Okay, so thinking the more. Okay, yeah. Okay, it's basically a nature reserve, guys. It's also one of the World Heritage sites. They have a caustic landscape, and like we just mentioned, okay, it was caused by erosion. So they have a special type of wind erosion, or I'm not too sure. But sort of they cause those steep, like pointy shapes, and it's limestone. Okay. Basically, obviously, within those little areas at the base, it creates like little caves and hollows. There's various types of habitats that live there. okay, within the reserve. Yeah, so that definitely would uh, would entice, that definitely entice the adventure tourist. Because of the various habitats, also different types of researchers, nature conservationists, terrain, landscapes. Okay, guys, now more of a cultural edge or culture and heritage would be the Royal Hills of Manga. Okay. It's a very important cultural site for Madagascar. Okay, it's also a World Heritage Site. Why it's so iconic? It's basically burial grounds, so a graveyard. It used to be the royal city, and it's a sacred area for pilgrimages. So, like people go to Mecca and people go to Israel. Those lands are holy lands. They burial grounds where important people were buried, and also prior, it used to be the royal city. Okay, of Madagascar. Okay, what is the time?
It's 6 minutes long.
Yeah, software is bigger. Mauritius.
Sorry,
Software is bigger.
like we can't only like contain soccer to break down.
Man, but lots of the footballers go there in Mauritius also.
But I'm just checking the time. Where we now? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I obviously got a few videos for you guys, but I like keeping it for another day, so we can just go through it as revision. But Mauritius is obviously another area that is part of the SADC region. Okay, it's another island-like feel, island of the west coast of Madagascar again. Okay, what is iconic in this area in particular, being that it's an island, is obviously the beaches, blue, very beautiful. I don't know what, but you see, it looks like something out of a magazine. Okay, they are national parks, very small though, it's not that big. What they've already covered. Water sports, definitely. Okay, they also have an extinct volcano and lots of other leisure activities that you can do on on the island. Currency is the rupee. Again, guys, it's the warm ocean. Okay, so it's again one of our Hawaiis in Africa. Okay, the language that is spoken there is English and Finnish, but Creole. Like, so it's not like pure English, okay, but a sort of infused English. Um, I'm not too sure.
Like the size of one of our provinces.
Probably, let's say Crowding, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MC, you can love your international. Just for the day.
Yeah.
Well, it's a whole
It's like lots of also. They consist of lots of islands.
Yeah, it's nice, man.
very nice. Very nice.
I really want to go here also.
Come and go with us.
Yo,
Good. Good. Organize one for next.
Oh, and I guess your geography learners is a coming one.
Okay.
Guys, so Port Louis and Grand Bay, it's spelled like fire, but not. Okay. Port Louis is surrounded by a range of mountains. Okay, the attraction here, they have a sort of market that goes down always. It's like always there. So it will be sort of the tropical fruits I think that's the vibe, fruits and vegetables. They even have meat and obviously iconic, the sarongs, sun hats and things, clothing and crafts. Um, Also, the waterfront area, okay, would have places to sit down and eat, cafes, small cafes. So that is quite a great area as a tourist for you to visit, okay, especially to buy those souvenirs and things like that. Grand Bay is on the coast, okay. So what they have here is obviously lovely accommodation, okay, on the beach or on the coastline or really close to some. That's going to be less. That's going to cost less, which is slightly a walking distance away. So lots of tourism services in this village because they know that that is what they're known for, the beach, and then they obviously need to have lots of tourism services in the area to service tourists that visit. Okay, so obviously the obvious things, guys, is a beach, just planning, water sports, lots of leisure activities along these beaches. I think that's what she's actually doing. I didn't ask her. I just thought I'm being nosy. So she's probably working at I know one of my other friends worked at the bar in Mauritius. And he loved it. He stayed there for a long time. I guess tips are great.
I think it is still a I read it. I think it is because was a pre-made love was for
No, girl,
I could have mentioned it to you. I mentioned lots of things to you guys. Yeah. So I don't know if you actually you pronounce this caramalful or chamadal, okay. But it's basically also a great or iconic waterfall, okay, close to the village itself. Okay, what is unique there is that they have sort of a uniquely colored land. Okay, so the picture at the bottom, okay, the sort of the stone, the face of it has like this sort of colorful effect, and obviously because of the rain and the sunshine through the waterfall, because of the waterfall and the sun shining through the waterfall, it creates this sort of colorful effect, something similar to the big falls. Obviously, there's always a rainbow at the big falls. And also, guys, the reason for this sort of escarpment, if I could call it that, I think, but the face of this, the rock, and the reason why it's that color or shades of color, different colors, is because of the volcanic eruptions that occurred in, used to occur in. Okay, Tamarind Bay, my name, but not spelled like that. More like the Tamarind sweet spelling. Tamarind Bay. Guys, that is surface paradise. That is like the Jeffreys Bay, J Bay. That is like our beaches here in Cape Town. Okay? The surface paradise, guys, surface lifestyle, even flip-flops, carrying some sort of board. Okay? It is a surface village, and it gives us that feel, very down to earth, naturalistic, holistic, easygoing. Holiday type feel, like leisure. Our beaches are not as white though, but guys, the surf is great. Okay, as the other Mauritian beaches that you find, and the tourism services, Tamarind Bay for surfers, and then the falls as well. Guys, I'm going to leave it at that for today. I'll show you. Video. Oh, wait.
Now, it's close to only people who sit now.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
Wait. We're even changing it.
Yes.
To water. No.
Half an hour.